It was a cold, rainy night. I'd been working on the case of Vinny Vision for 3 months, and I was still no closer to finding him. Vinny had been in and out of trouble his whole life. His latest caper, though, was by far his worst. He and his partner, Larry the Liar, cut the power at the mayor's ball and made off with Lady Harriet's diamond necklace and the Watermelon Queen's jade tiara. We were close to catching Larry and Lady Harriet's necklace, but 3 months later, we still hadn't gotten Vinny or the Watermelon Queen's crown. I was beginning to feel like we'd never catch Vinny until I heard those 2 voices. I was down at Charlie's, playing a nice game of hopscotch, when I heard a man and a woman talking at the bar. They were talking over a goblet of milk, and I overheard them say they had seen a strange man walking the streets, complaining about a sight. It sounded just like Vinny Vision, but when I turned around to ask the couple more questions, they had already left. My first lead busted. I had to find those 2 people, but I had just seen their silhouettes in the dim light, and all I knew about them was that they were talking over a goblet of milk. How would I find them with that? I needed help. Thanks to your help, I caught up with the guy just outside Charlie's. Hey, I said, wait up. I got a question for you.
Yeah, what?
So, you saw a guy wandering the streets, complaining about his sight, eh?
Yeah, I saw him.
What else was he doing?
Nothing. Nothing else. Just complaining about a sight.
Yeah? Do you know why he would have been complaining about a sight there, Johnny?
My name's not Johnny, and I'm not an eye doctor. By the way, isn't it your job to find out why the fella can't see?
He had a point. I didn't even know how we see things. I knew I needed answers, and I knew just who to go to. The optometrist. I just called Doc. Thanks, Doc. And now that I knew how we see things, I also knew we needed to get back on the case. I decided I would go question a street performer named Aloysius. Aloysius played the saxophone on the corner right where the couple said they saw Vinny Vision. I was hoping that Aloysius would be playing there tonight so that we could go ask some questions. Have you all seen Aloysius the sax player? Maybe you could throw me a bone here, juniors. I'm glad that you all found Aloysius and told me that she was a girl. I must admit, with her long trench coat and hat, I had always thought Aloysius was a guy. You all sure saved me some embarrassment. Now, when I questioned Aloysius about seeing Vinny Vision, she was real cool, like an ice cream cone on a hot day.
Hey there.
Hello there, miss. Do you and your band play out here every night?
Most.
Then have you ever seen a man wandering the streets, complaining about his sight?
We see a lot of people, mister, but I know who you're talking about. He was wandering around, complaining about not being able to see, and about how he had lost his crown. To be honest, I thought he had lost his mind.
Anything else you noticed, miss?
Only that he was rubbing and squinting his eyes a lot.
Happen to know why, Janie?
My name isn't Janie, and I'm not an eye doctor. Isn't it your job to find the answers, Mr. Policeman?
She also had a point, and her words sounded real familiar. Why would Vinny be rubbing and squinting his eyes? Looked like another case for Doc to help me with. As always, my hat went off to Doc. I knew why Vinny might be rubbing and squinting his eyes, but I still didn't know where to look for him. And unfortunately, Aloysius, the sax player, hadn't given me a new place to look for him. But right then, I heard a message come across my police radio.
A suspect, considered to be Larry the Liar, has been apprehended. Ooh, he will be taken to police headquarters downtown so that Lady Harriet may pick him out of a lineup. 10-4, over and out, and all that.
Here was the break I needed. I just hoped that Lady Harriet identified the right man. Larry and Vinny had cut the lights at the mayor's ball. So all anybody knew about Larry was that he was a liar. Maybe you all can bring a new angle to this case and help the lady identify Larry the Liar. After Larry was identified, they found Lady Harriet's necklace in his pocket. He had denied having it the whole time. But what else can you expect from a liar?
So, officer, you come to let me out of here?
Not a chance, Larry.
That's all right. I love it in here. When I was in here before, all we ate was steak and potatoes, and the officers let us watch cartoons all morning long.
Lying again, Larry?
Of course I'm lying. This is a horrible place. All we eat is liver and pea soup. It's so cold and heartless in here, and all we're allowed to watch is the People's Court. Who could like that?
Only a cheap lawyer, but that doesn't matter right now.
You come here to play games with me, officer?
Maybe I did. Do you like games?
Some.
Then how about 20 questions?
If I answer right, do I get out of this hole?
Not a chance, Larry.
Then, how about a lollipop?
Well, Tootsie or Cherry?
Tootsie. What's your question, officer?
All right. We're looking for your partner, Vinny Vision. Do you know where he is?
I don't know where Vinny is, buddy.
Really? Well, I guess you don't get that Tootsie Pop then, Lair. Have fun eating liver and cold pea soup for a while.
Fine, I'll tell you where he is.
I knew that would get him.
He's with his mother. Now give me my Tootsie.
Not until you tell me how to find her.
That's the strange thing, mister. His family is really good at hiding. His mom looks young, but she's really an old lady. And I swear, that's all I know.
Believing him, I gave him the Tootsie and started to walk away. I had the challenge of finding this lady ahead of me. Sure enough, Vinny's mother did look young, but as I looked closer, I noticed she was really an old lady.
I'm afraid that Lion Larry has tricked you. Vinny isn't here, and I haven't seen him for quite some time.
I should have known I couldn't trust Larry the Liar. What else can you tell me about your son, ma'am?
Oi, where do I begin? Vinny has always been such a bad boy. Ever since he was young, he's always been getting into trouble. The thing I remember most is that he never listened to me. For example, I would tell Vinny never to play with sharp objects that could put an eye out. I'd also tell him never to stand so close to me in the kitchen when I was frying things so grease wouldn't pop him up in the eyes. And then when Vinny would play outside, I told him never to look directly at the sun, even when he had his sunglasses on. But whenever I told him those things, Vinny would just laugh and do it anyway. I even told him that he should get his eyes checked because our family has a history of vision problems. But Vinny just told me he was fine.
Things were starting to make some sense. Surely that could be why Vinny has problems seeing.
My name isn't Shirley. It's Mrs. Vision to you, and I'm not an eye doctor. Besides, aren't you supposed to have some of these answers, Mr. Officer?
She also had a point, and I was growing tired of hearing those words. I decided to check in with Doc to see if Vinny's problems with the sight could have come from him not being careful with his eyes. Doc had definitely helped me out again, and Mrs. Vision had helped me out by giving me this final clue to find Vinny. She said that the last time she saw him, he was wearing a uniform and that he looked older. Now that didn't give me any certain answers except one. This was one messed up family. How do they look younger and older at the same time? This case was beginning to turn me upside down. But I couldn't quit. We were too close to do that. Finally, Vinny was found. Cleverly disguised as an old soldier, I had missed him for months. One thing was left unanswered, though. Why had Vinny taken the Watermelon Queen's jade tiara?
I never really meant to do anything. I just kind of stumbled into it. That's the way it's been my whole life. When I was at the mayor's ball, I tripped over the power cord, which shut off all the lights. If I could have seen things better, I wouldn't have made that mistake. As I was falling, I not only took out the power cord, but I also took out the Watermelon Queen. While I was reaching around on the floor to find my way, I thought I had found a pair of glasses, but it was actually the Watermelon Queen's tiara. I set it on my face, but it was so dark, I didn't know that I had the crown on instead. When I ran outside, I noticed that I had the crown, and Larry the Liar shouted, "Good work, Vinny. Let's get out of here." I heard the police coming, so I ran.
That's a good story, Vinny. One you should have told the police. Now you'll have to tell a judge instead. And to think, this whole thing could have been avoided if you just would have listened to your mother and gone to see the eye doctor once in a while.
I know. I'm sorry, Mommy.
A strange story, this one. Vinny's problems with the sight had led to a mixed-up life of trouble. He was always in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, fortunately, the Watermelon Queen felt bad for Vinny and dropped the charges. It seems she had problems with her sight, too, until she went and saw her optometrist. The only thing she said was that Vinny had to go see the eye doctor, too. Now, for Vinny, it changed his whole life. Now he can see, and he's not getting into trouble anymore. He's even learned to play the piano, and he's gotten so good at the piano that he and Aloysius, the saxophone player, have come together to create the smoothest sounding jazz band on the Eastern Seaboard. Their newest CD, Vinnylicious, is making buku bucks around the country. So see, kids, it really does pay to go see your eye doctor.